On this special edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen from San Antonio, Texas.
On this week's special edition from San Antonio, we'll have expert insight on what it's going to take to rebuild the nation's cattle herd, plus an up-close look at Cattlemen's College.
And now, your host, Kevin Oxner from San Antonio, Texas.
Hello and welcome to NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. I'm Kevin Oxner. We're happy to have you with us as we continue our coverage from San Antonio and the 2015 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show. This annual gathering allows all segments to come together to create policy for the industry. We caught up with several cattle producers to get their thoughts on some of the biggest challenges they'll face in 2015.
I think the biggest challenge is figuring out ways of talking to the consumer. With the social media and instant access to information, it's not always accurate, and we don't necessarily do a good job of staying ahead of all that.
We need to stay on top of the issues, the policies that are coming down in Washington, D.C., being aware of what's coming through the House and the Senate, and how that may be impacting our producers. We also need to be very conscious of how we disseminate information to the new generation that's coming up into the industry. They're not all paper and emails necessarily, as much as tweets and Facebook concepts and some of those things, the social media aspects.
The beef industry right now would be, in our particular area, in Appalachia, high in the mountains, and being our ranch also includes some mining, coal mining, and it's EPA regulations, federal regulations is the biggest thing confronting us right now, you know.
I think that the biggest challenge we have is to educate the public on beef, bringing them to our farms, so that the public will know where their food is coming from. That's very important. I think we're really removed from it.
I think a lot of it's going to be regulatory issues, environmental issues, and hopefully we get Trade Promotion Authority to help improve our exports.
And the challenges, I think, are still people like HSUS and PETA that are trying to give us a black eye, and environmentalists, and then that, and we got to really be careful that we don't get over-regulated.
I think the biggest challenge facing the beef industry is all the different markets that are out there right now. You know, they're kind of all up against one another right now, and I think everyone just needs to come together and realize that we're all in the same goal of producing wholesome, nutritious beef that's safe for everyone's families to enjoy.
Our biggest challenge could well be keeping our consumers engaged as the price of beef has increased and the competition from other meat proteins is ever growing. I think we need to be sure we continue to have that safe, wholesome product that people enjoy as beef in the U.S.
Thanks to record high beef prices, many ranchers are looking to expand their herds. But as Cattlemen to Cattlemen reporter Russell Nemitz tells us, herd rebuilding will be a long and slow process.
The place we're starting rebuilding from is a place we never really intended to be in this industry. We've had external factors, the drought most recently, but other factors for a few years prior to that have pushed the beef cattle industry through liquidation to a smaller level than it ever intended to be, then certainly I think the market wants it to be in terms of the market potential that's out there.
The latest report from the USDA shows an expansion of the U.S. beef cow herd is underway. But can that growth be sustained? That was the basic question Dr. Darrell Peel of Oklahoma State University talked about during a crowded session of the 2015 Cattlemen's College.
There's still some threats out there to whether we can maintain it, drought most notably. How fast can we grow is not only a question of the biology of cattle production, but also other factors, including the age demographics of our producers, access to finance, and the challenges of beginning farmers and ranchers to really get going in this business.
The current beef cow herd stands at 29.7 million head, up 2% from a year ago. Dr. Peel says he believes there's market demand enough to grow the cow herd to 33 million head over the next few years. But getting there will take good weather and a positive outlook for cow-calf producers.
It all depends really on the cow-calf sector. At this point in the cycle, if you will, all eyes are on the cow-calf sector. They are the source of supply, and the decisions they make will determine what that supply will be and how fast we'll get there. So producers' expectations are an absolute key to this thing as we go forward. At this point, we have very high prices. We have very strong, immediate value, if you will, for a heifer, for example. And you have to balance that against whatever the producer's expectations are about future value in terms of investing in that heifer as a breeding animal, giving up the sale today and the dollars in the pocket today for future production.
And as for 2015, Dr. Peel says he expects producers will see cattle market prices holding strong.
I see 2015 as a year where we continue what we have. I don't think we continue the rate of increase we had, but we're starting the year where we ended 2014. And so I think we'll average higher for the year. We'll trade in a range. We'll probably have a little more seasonal tendency this year, depending on the class of cattle we're talking about, seasonal highs that could push past the records of last year, but we'll see some seasonal lows that will drop down from that, more so than we did in the strong uptrend last year.
From the 2015 Cattlemen's College in San Antonio, I'm Russell Nemitz reporting for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Still ahead on NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we'll let you know what to expect for the long-term weather outlook. Plus, we'll bring you all the action from the always popular Cattlemen's College. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
You're watching NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen on RFD TV.
New Holland is the undisputed leader in hay tools. We give farmers a wide range of innovative equipment that increases efficiency and productivity all year round. Because to us, smart means providing a smooth, clean cut with faster dry down, plug-free conditioning, and superior bale density. And smart means leaving less hay on the field to feed more livestock in less time. That's New Holland Smart. Visit your local New Holland dealer today.
Don't miss the 2015 NCBA Legislative Conference in Washington, D.C. It's your opportunity to meet with key congressional and federal agency influencers and to let them know where cattlemen and women stand on critical issues that impact the cattle business and our way of life. Make plans to be in Washington, D.C. March 24th to the 26th for the 2015 NCBA Legislative Conference. Together, we can do more. Details at beefusa.org.
Well, I think a rancher has to be a steward of the land. There's nobody else that can take care of land better than a rancher can, because he has to make his living off of it. When we switched over to the Purina products, it was a step in the right direction, and it's really been profitable for us. It just makes that much of a difference.
The difference we see in the cattle is the consistency of their nutrition. They don't go up and down drastically in weight. Every head on this ranch is fed the Purina Superlix 30. If we keep them on that feed, they stay in optimum condition year round.
The cattle hold their condition a lot better all throughout the whole year. The products they're producing are very much in line with what the rancher needs to be using to be profitable in the future. That's the best thing ever happened to us.
It does make a difference that we can see day in and day out.
Welcome back. There's not much cattlemen and women would like more than to be able to predict the weather, especially in their own backyard. While that's almost impossible to do, let's hear from Art Douglas of Creighton University with a long-term weather outlook for the majority of our nation.
Well, one thing we talked about here in the convention was that the Pacific now has gone back into a warm West Coast phase. And we know the warm West Coast phase favors increased moisture from California into Arizona, Texas, Southern Plains, as well as the Southeast. A warm West Coast phase also tends to favor maybe just a little drier weather in the Midwest, but it tends to be drier weather in the spring, which is actually pretty good. and it also tends to favor a little less heat in the summer, which you don't have as many problems then maybe with the corn pollination. So that's a major change, and it's going to last probably for another 10, 15 years. So we're kind of moving things around. The drought's not going to be as common in the Southwest. And then in the upper Midwest, what we're going to see is not as wet a spring, but more of a normal type spring pattern, good for early planting, and summers maybe not quite as hot.
There are a number of great things to see and do at the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show, and one of the most popular events is always Cattlemen's College. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Matt Fleck takes a closer look at this event and why it's such a big hit among cattle producers.
It takes knowledge and skill to raise quality cattle. That's why each year hundreds of beef producers make it a priority to take part in Cattlemen's College. The event, which is sponsored by Zoetis, is designed to educate producers on progressive ranching practices.
These are the top speakers and industry guys in the nation. These guys have a kind of a feel for what's going on. And
22 years ago, we started our sponsorship of Cattlemen's College, and we're very proud of our involvement over these years. We believe that an educated producer makes better decisions, and ultimately they make better decisions. It's good for us and it's good for them.
The event saw outstanding attendance with more than 1,300 participants. Hands-on cattle demonstrations kick things off Tuesday night, highlighting how beef producers can add value to their market cows. It was also an opportunity for the students to learn more about the many different cuts of beef.
I think one of the things that really set me back last night was our producers were just so enthralled. I didn't know that's where the baseball steak came from. I didn't know that's where a tri-tip came from, or rib steak or that. And so they were really interested in what the cuts of meat were and where they came from on the body. And so we thought it was a home run on helping our ranchers understand where the different cuts of meats are.
Cattlemen's College continued the next morning with a wide range of informative workshops designed for cattle operations of every size and sector. Classes ranged from generational transfer in ranching to grazing management and the future use of antibiotics in food animals.
Working with the NCBA, we designed the curriculum at the National Cattlemen's College to reflect the needs of the producer, so always topical and always educational.
The event wrapped up with a special lunch session hosted by Max Armstrong. The longtime farm journalist shared his thoughts on the value of a program like Cattlemen's College and how it helps to give cattle men and women ideas to implement back home on their own operations.
The idea is, for one thing, to get people charged up a little bit. So when they go back to the ranch, they've got a new perspective on things. You'll learn from being around other farmers and ranchers at a meeting like this. You're standing in the hallway, perhaps you're sitting and having a beverage, and maybe there's another operator who's dealing with a challenge that you haven't yet, but you know it's coming your way. Well, how did they deal with that in their local community? You don't have to reinvent the wheel sometimes, because you can, if you will, steal a good idea from somebody else.
In addition to the educational aspects, there's also tremendous value in the interaction between producers. Cattlemen's College is a great opportunity to hear firsthand how other ranchers across the country are managing their operations.
I think that's what you need. If you don't get out and hear what everybody else is doing in the world, you kind of get in your own little shell, and there's no place better than to come to this convention and meet progressive people from all over the United States and visit with them and rub shoulders and see what they're doing and what they're thinking, and then kind of go home and get rejuvenated and start looking forward to coming back next year.
It doesn't matter how long you've been in the business, there's something for everyone at Cattlemen's College.
I've taught at the university for 35 years. I don't think I've ever seen producers as hungry for information as I've seen in the last couple of years.
If I wouldn't come here and go to Cattlemen's College, I'd almost feel like I'm out of touch in the industry. They put together such a great line of speakers, and if there's only one place I could go every year, it'd be to this convention.
Reporting from San Antonio, Texas, I'm Matt Fleck for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Still to come on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we'll show you how to maximize your forage production on limited acres, plus a closer look at this year's Environmental Stewardship National Award winner. Stay with us.
Sure, cattle bring in the profits, but Case IH equipment helps you do everything else.
We stand for what we believe in. We believe in you. It's more than a job. It's your way of life. Who you are, where you live, and what you do. The way you treat your cattle, your family, your employees, and your neighbors. The water you drink, the air you breathe, and the ground you walk on. What you do every day gives families something to gather around every night. It's about doing what's right for your cattle, your land, your community, and your business. It's your livelihood, and it means as much to us as it does to you. We all believe in responsible beef. Let's stand together at responsiblebeef.com.
Sure, cattle bring in the profits, but Case IH equipment helps you do everything else.
Because of competition from crop ground and urban sprawl, the acres available for grazing cattle are in high demand. It pays cattlemen to properly manage their pastures to get maximum return on forage resources, especially as producers look to expand herd numbers. Cattlemen and Cattlemen reporter Brian Baxter has more from Florida.
The U.S. cattle herd is in the rebuilding stage, and cattle numbers will continue to rise in many states. However, acres available for grazing will not increase, so cattlemen will have to manage their natural resources to produce more beef on less land. It's crucial to remember that pasture grazing is the lowest cost feed source, and managing weeds with herbicide application yields the highest return on pasture improvement.
So this part of Florida, a lot of agriculture, a lot of row crops, vegetable crops, but also a lot of cattle ranching as well. I don't think pasture acreage is going to increase in Florida, especially with urban sprawl. We're actually going to probably see a decrease in acreage over time. It's going to be more important for the ranchers actually to better manage these pastures and get them up to the highest production potential that we can get. Since Florida is a cow-calf state, increasing the forage production is going to be a key component of increasing the herd size.
Pasture management is growing exponentially here. As we continue to try and find better forages, and also as cattle prices increase, the money available to the rancher has become more expendable, and they're using that money to try and increase their forage to get more pounds on the cows, because pounds equals dollars.
Weed control is the most cost-effective way for cattlemen to increase their forage production. But the subtropic environment in Florida creates a unique challenge as producers manage weed populations with herbicide application.
We run a cow-calf operation, which is true of most of Florida. The predominant species of grass here is the Bahia grass. We also have some jigs grass and some limpo grass that we utilize in our hay operation. Our environmental challenges here in Florida are much different than they are in most of the United States. We're in a subtropic climate, 50 plus inches of rainfall. Obviously, with that much rainfall, we grow a tremendous abundance of forage, but it's a very low quality. And that's our biggest challenge here in Florida is the low quality forage. We can improve on our forage quality by several things. One is making sure that we have clean pastures, and through fertilization. The main thing that we focus on, besides the fertility program, is also weed control. With the kind of climate that we have tremendous weed population. And it's our best interest to keep these pastures clean, and we spend a lot of time and energy making sure that we do that. It's all a matter of productivity. It's all a matter of the volume of grass and how many cattle we can run and do it in an environmentally friendly way.
Several weed species are a problem in southeastern states, and producers have found through experience that herbicide application is the best way to knock down these weeds to make more room for grass to flourish.
Dog fennel is our #1 broadleaf weed in the state of Florida, and thankfully it's fairly easy to control, but It can grow anywhere from 6 to 12, sometimes 14 feet tall. This plant here is actually from last year's growth. Still got a little bit of green on it because we haven't had a frost yet in Florida this year. But even then, we have new growth starting from the bottom. And this is something that the ranchers can look at. Go out and scout their pastures and look at the growth that's coming from the ground and start planning their weed control programs. So you'll end up with a bunch of single stems. And if that is left for another year, the following year you'll end up with more stems. So multiple stems per plant. And then eventually, several multiple stems. And they will grow out 2 to 3 feet from the original stem that started. And if something isn't done, then you can end up with, almost 100% monoculture of dog fennel in the pasture.
The tropical soda apple is a real problem. The dog fennel used to be, we don't have any dog fennel problems anymore, and we can attribute that to the fact that we have had a very aggressive herbicide program over the last few years. On this operation, the value of the herbicide is unbelievable. We have basically parked the tractors. We can herbicide it one time and be through with it. If we were to have to mow this, we'd have to mow it 3 or 4 times, and with an operation of this scale, that means a lot more tractors. The capital cost associated with that makes absolutely no sense. We're able to come in here early, effectively, and in a hurry, take care of our weed pressure for the rest of the year. That's the one thing that's easy for me and for our operation to choose.
We'll have more on this story from Florida when we return.
It's deer season. Time to save big on a powerful John Deere 6M or 6R Series tractor. Choose any model from 105 to 155 horsepower and get up to $6,000 cash off. Or get 0% financing for 60 months and up to $1,000 off. From field to feedlot, you'll find the right fit in a new 6M or 6R Series tractor. Make your move today.
It's the official monthly publication of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. The National Cattleman is produced exclusively for NCBA members and includes coverage of the news and events affecting our industry. From Capitol Hill to the far side of cattle country, the National Cattleman provides information NCBA members need. Every issue includes market analysis, feature stories, and practical management tips. Start receiving your copy of the National Cattleman. Call 866-USA-BEEF or go online to beefusa.org and join today.
Welcome back. Let's return to Florida, where Brian Baxter has more on how to increase your forage production.
As the owner of a chemical application company and a cattleman himself, Robert Fussell knows how important timing is to herbicide application. He says scouting fields is the first step to determine proper application time.
Number one problem that most producers face is they don't scout enough. They wait till something is a problem before they ever act. You need to get in there early to scout them, find your problem weeds, and get them now because it'll cut the cost of your herbicide. The main reason it benefits forage growth is right now the weed's small, so it's not taking up no space. 3 months from now, it's taking up a lot of space. It's taking energy from the plant and moisture where the grass could be growing. So that's the main reason, if you catch it early.
Timing is very important here in the Southeast. That last week of February, first week of March is going to be vital to figuring out what you have in your pasture and then creating a plan, and that will give you time to figure out your best options and then treat the weeds while they're young.
I'll go in and survey the field, scout it out, see what problem weeds are out there, and most of the time, we can go in there for a lot cheaper than you can mow it and spray it. And soda apples, I want to look for something that's going to give us a residual, because each one of their little pods, which produces a lot of weeds, seeds, anything that produces a lot of seeds, I try to put a herbicide out with residual, so when the plant dies and the seeds germinate, they'll die. so that, they can get a long-term effect from it.
After landowners scout their fields to determine what weeds are a problem, they can then work with their local Dow AgroSciences representative or applicator to develop a management plan, part of which is choosing which herbicide product will work best.
Probably our most popular tank mix is 1.5 pints of Grazon Next HL and 8 to 10 ounces of Pasture Guard HL. And the reason we recommend that so frequently is that you get a lot of broadleaf weed control, you get control of dog fennel up to 4 feet tall, you get some activity and control of briars. I mean, it is the premier tank mix because you're getting the most bang for your buck and you're getting the broadest spectrum of control that you can get in one pass.
Usually on herbicide products, how to decide which one I want to use, I look back at notes and from the last several years to see which product has worked the best, what I've got the best results from, the longest kill, without having to go back in and respray a pasture. So a lot of times I use a combination of sprays. A lot of times I'll use like Grazon Next HL, Pasture Guard HL. I had 3 customers last year that told me never to use nothing on their pasture again except Grazon Next and Pasture Guard. They said that's all they want. They said it takes care of everything in our pastures. It's a one-stop shop.
Dow AgroSciences offers herbicides to help all cattlemen manage their pastures and improve forage production. Developing a pasture management plan is an effort of professionals working together to write a plan that includes the best herbicide for each individual cattle operation.
When it comes to writing prescriptions or getting a management plan together for a rancher who may not have one, it really takes a team effort. It's very collaborative. We personally work with university staff and also local extension and our retailers and distributors who have that relationship with the rancher and get in on their land and showing them here's your main problems.
We have had a great relationship over the years with Dow. Danny, who is our rep, does a good job of helping us when we have any issues or have any problems. We've got a great relationship with Bobby Fussell, who's from down south, that's our applicator. He believes in the product, and it's a great relationship. And they have confidence in their product, but I'm always a little bit skeptic. I want to see it work. We started at first with just a little bit, and it didn't take very long to realize that the claims they made were true. The Grazon Next and the Pasture Guard HL are the products that we use to control the weeds here because the residual that we get and the cost savings. Forage is the backbone of any cattle operation, at least on the cow-calf side of it, and the stockers. We're really grass farmers is what we are, and we take that grass and convert it to beef. And the herbicides help us to do that, and they're probably the best dollars that we spend. It's all about the amount of forage and the quality. It's an expense, but it's an expense that adds to the bottom line. And anytime we can kill the weeds, can keep these pastures in productivity, we're dollars ahead.
Reporting from Florida, I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Dow AgroSciences offers a full range of products suited to fit nearly any rangeland or pasture. For help selecting the best product for your individual situation and management goals, visit rangeandpasture.com to contact a dealer near you. If you like burgers, and who doesn't, you're in for a real treat. We're in the kitchen once again with Pam Nash from the Beef Culinary Innovations team. And Pam, I understand you have a beer barbecue chipotle burger to share with us today. Is that right?
I do. This is a fantastic burger and super easy to make.
Super.
You can throw it together really easy with everything you already have in your pantry.
Sounds like some great ingredients. Tell us how we do it.
So the first thing we're going to do is make the chipotle barbecue sauce.
Okay.
We're going to start off and we're going to just use ketchup.
Okay.
Some brown sugar.
Yep.
Delicious. A little bit of Worcestershire sauce.
All right.
Half a cup of your favorite beer, whatever you happen to have on hand.
All right.
And then we're going to use some chipotle and adobo.
Oh, wow.
This is going to give us some spice.
Yeah.
So use as much or as little as you would like.
You bet.
But very, very, very delicious.
Okay.
We're going to put all of these ingredients in a saucepan. You're going to cook it for about 10 minutes.
Okay.
And it's going to reduce down and turn into
really?
yummy barbecue sauce.
Oh, outstanding.
Then, while that's cooking, what we did is we went to the store, and in your frozen section, you have pre-packaged Texas toast.
Oh, sure.
It's the yummy stuff, covered in butter, super delicious.
Yes.
We took one piece. We, for this demonstration, we actually cooked it in our pan.
Yes.
You can also grill it, which is delicious.
Yeah.
Toast it up however you want.
Okay.
And then we're just going to go ahead, cut this in half.
Yeah.
We're only going to use one piece of toast for this burger.
Perfect.
In the meantime, what you're going to want to do is cook your burger.
Yeah,
Here we've got our burger cooking. I'm going to go ahead and flip it.
Sure.
So you get a nice sear,
and
you can see you get beautiful, beautiful, beautiful brownness. If it's summertime and you want to go outside and grill it, go ahead and grill your burger.
Sure.
One of the things that we like to do when you're making your burger patties, we take our thumb and put a little indentation in the middle of your patty. And what that does is when you typically cook a burger, it'll puff up.
Right.
And sometimes you end up with more of a meatball instead of a burger. Still delicious, a little bit kind of hard to eat.
Gotcha.
So if you take your thumb and put a little indentation in it, it won't puff up like that. And
That's
it'll
a
be
great tip.
a nice burger for you.
And then you just use the sauce as a garnishment, as a dressing, if you will, on top of the burger.
Right, right. So we can put it together. I know this burger's not quite cooked. You want to cook your burgers to 160 degrees. But what we can do, we can go ahead and build this. So you take your half of your Texas toast, pour a little bit or a lot of your barbecue sauce, top it with your burger. And then for me, I'm going to top it with some more sauce.
And we better have this, we should call this a 3-napkin burger, it looks like to me.
Absolutely, but that's the best way to eat a burger, I think.
Absolutely.
Now, as a little fun addition, instead of a typical pickle for our burger, we've got some pickled okra. Again, you find it at your grocery store.
Sure.
We are going to slice it
real thin
into slices. We are going to top, put the pickled okra right on top there, and then
what
top
an
it right
interesting twist to the good old-fashioned burger. Thanks for sharing that with us today.
Absolutely.
And this is the finished product, it looks like. Looks delicious.
It is.
And this would be a huge hit at our house, I know that for sure.
And a huge hit at your summer barbecue as well.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming again today.
You're welcome.
For this and other outstanding beef recipes, visit the website beefitswhatsfordinner.com, or you can always find them on our website, cattlemen2cattlemen.org. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This is yours, and so is what grows there. Not theirs or theirs, yours. You need this to fight this and this to grow more this. Because the more of this you feed them, the less this you spend on that, which leaves more of this here. Don't let them take this from you. Chaparral takes care of weeds and brush, and that's that.
Hi there, I'm Joey.
And I'm Rory, and welcome to our farm outside Nashville, Tennessee. When we go to work, whether it's on tour or here at home, we wear the West.
That's right. Whether it's that perfect snap shirt or that perfect pair of boots, when you wear Roper, you wear the West.
Learn more about us, Joey and Rory, and about Roper Western Wear at eroper.com.
Telling the truth and being real, and feeding my family a home-cooked meal. That's important to me. That's important to me. And planting the garden and watching it grow.
Hello, I'm Kevin Ochsner, host of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. Each week, we travel the country to bring you the latest cattle industry news and information. Check us out at cattlemen2cattlemen.org or on Facebook and Twitter. I'm here with the 2014 Environmental Stewardship Award recipients, the Rock Hills Ranch, Lyle and Luke Perman. What does it feel like to be the recipients of this prestigious award?
Well, we've said all along, it's really not about us, it's about the cause, and we're really honored to receive it as a family, but really, I guess it's going to be a challenge for us now to continue spreading the word about how cattle can be an important component in a healthy ecosystem, and to display some of the things that we've done and try and tell our story and the story of our industry as a result.
And tell me, maybe you can give some perspective of the kinds of things you've implemented on your ranch to receive this award.
Well, there's been a number of things, the most important being just managing our grass. And that, I mean, there's a lot of ways we've accomplished that, I guess, or I should say a lot of things we've done to help that out. We haven't accomplished it yet because it's an evolving process. We're always hoping to get better. But, you know, cross-fencing, developing water, having a grazing plan, just paying attention to what's going on out there and moving the cattle where they need to be at the right time. Those have been probably the most important things as far as what we've done. So,
what would you like general consumers, the general public, to know about how you as ranchers steward the land and the resources?
Well, I would say we try and look at our ecosystem and say what can we do to improve our ecosystem, whether it's water infiltration or doing practices that would be wildlife friendly. But at the end of the day, the thing that we use as a measure is I actually like to quote Aldo Leopold. He said, "The landscape of any farm is the owner's portrait of himself." And so our challenge is, what kind of portrait are we painting? And so we try and look at everything we're doing and examine it from a holistic standpoint and say, okay, how is this going to impact a dung beetle? How is this going to impact a magpie? How is this going to impact water infiltration? How is it going to impact productivity with our cattle? At the end of the day, grass solves a lot of this world's ills. And advancing that message and what cattle can do in our ecosystem to advance that is really what we're looking for.
Now, I know achievements like this don't happen without a lot of other help. Who would you like to thank back home?
Well, I would say family is really important, and in particular, my wife Garnet. You know, I'm up front here talking, and I've said this before. It's family support at home that makes it possible for me to be up front talking, but the brains in the operation are home taking care of the ranch while Luke and I can be here celebrating this award and telling our story.
And Luke, you have a few folks back home as well that are helping out.
Yes, my wife Naomi, she's always, you know, supported in us and whatever we're working on the ranch, and which is something different for her. She grew up in the city, so it's been really great having her helping with things. We also have business partners, neighbors that we do things on share with, and the NRCS folks and other people, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, many others that have helped support us also. So it's not something we've done by ourselves, and really it's my dad that set the stage for that. Mom and Dad have set a good legacy for us to follow. So,
well, let's take a closer look at that portrait that the Perman family have created by taking a look at this year's Environmental Stewardship Award winner, the Rock Hills Ranch.
In north-central South Dakota, Rock Hills Ranch is a commercial Angus operation that was started by Lyle and Garnet Perman in 1977 after they graduated from college.
I'm the fourth generation of our family to ranch in this immediate area. 4 sets of great-grandparents homesteaded within 30 minutes of where we are today.
These days, it's Lyle's son who makes the day-to-day decisions on the ranch. Lyle and Garnet lease the entire operation to Luke and his wife Naomi. This unique arrangement allows Luke to gain valuable management experience while still having the benefit of Lyle's advice.
One of the things we did not want for Luke was for him to be 50 years old and Dad's still making the decisions, and suddenly Dad's gone and he's never made a hard choice in his life. And so we made the choice to lease the land to him and allow him to make the decisions with plenty of input from Dad.
One nice thing is Dad has been here for 35 years, so he knows the land and knows what to expect from it at different times. So his experience is really valuable.
You know, it was my goal to bring him into the business, and there was a time about 10 years ago where that was in question. He was his National Guard unit was activated, and he spent time in Iraq and got injured. My goal was to teach him and to turn it over to him. And I can tell you right now that I can leave for a day, a week, a month, or a year. And I know Luke can run the operation and not have a problem.
Rock Hills Ranch is only 15 miles from the Missouri River, so water management is a priority. The ranch annually receives around 17 inches of rain, and keeping that moisture on the property is a primary goal. The Permans realized that improving their grass would also improve their water holding capacity, so they developed a rotational grazing system that would increase how much water soaks into the soil.
Ground cover helps us to hold the water and allow it to infiltrate on our property. We want to leave a lot of ground cover. I want every place that I walk on our ranch, I want to be able to look down and see ground cover. If I can't see ground cover, that's a problem. For us, the grass is the crop we're producing. The cattle are just a machine to harvest it. Like a farmer harvests corn, we harvest grass.
Primary driver of profit is how many cows can I have out here? And that all goes back to how I'm managing the grass. Because of cross fencing and maybe some different management practices, we've been able to increase our stocking rates on some of the ground.
The Permans understand a healthy wildlife population also reflects a healthy ecosystem, so they take time to consider how their conservation efforts will impact the native species.
There's a lot of ground nesting birds that we found are critical to healthy habitat. So a lot of times we'll use those key species as indicators of range health. We get joy out of seeing that kind of diversity. Plant diversity, animal diversity, bird diversity. What role do cattle play in that? Well, without cattle, you won't have any of that.
The entire Perman family is passionate about sharing their stewardship story. Garnet writes an online blog and a column for the local newspaper. And Rock Hills Ranch hosts several tours a year, which allow the public to see their conservation efforts firsthand.
Lyle and Garnet's ranch is an open door. There's people coming and going all the time, and you never see them light up more than when they can share the land and the animals with people. And you don't hear them complaining when somebody wants to come out and see the ranch.
Hospitality is something that is important to both of us. We just feel like it's a good way to connect with people. One of the ways we give back is by letting people come experience what we have here, because God's been really good to us, and it's important to share that.
The future for Rock Hills Ranch looks bright, and the sustainable practices the Permans are using not only make the land healthier and more efficient, but strengthen it for generations to come.
Not everything we do is going to make us the most money right now, but in the long run, it's what's best for the cows and the land and future generations to be able to stay here.
Lyle always says, in the end, nature always wins, and so you kind of have to learn to work with it no matter what anyway. Hopefully there'll be some new things that come along that will help them establish, even a better resource than what we have.
I don't think that we've got everything figured out. There's still a lot of things we have yet to learn, and there's a lot of things that I've seen other people do that I've thought, I wonder if we could do that, maybe we can.
Are there things that we can improve on? Absolutely. We're always learning. It's just a never-ending process. Our goal is not to sustain what we've got. Our goal is to regenerate what there was at one time on this ranch. So we're not content with what we've got. We're always looking for ways to improve it and to restore what at one time was here.
If you want to see all the ESAP regional winners, check out their stories on our website. That's cattlemen2cattlemen.org. We're back with Baxter Black right after this.
Once upon a time, before backpacks came with rollers and games were canceled due to rain, everyone drank their no-whip, black as a miner's day coffee out of cast iron pots. We didn't cook our meat with self-igniting charcoal. Companies didn't hire praise teams to make sure we got enough pats on the back. You had to earn them. Thankfully, there are still a few of us left who believe in hard work, determination, and guts. Guts, after all, is what brings us great things.
Let's face it, you don't think a lot about your trailer hitch. You use it and forget it. We understand. But at B&W, We think about it. Short nights, long hauls, never-ending chores. The unthinkable. We think about it all, so you don't have to. B&W. Trusted.
If you're not using IMI Global's verification programs, you might as well set your money on fire. To give your wieners added value, no program begins without a traceable animal. Then add on BQA and other specialties, and you open up a whole new market for your calves. You might be thinking, the market's so good, why bother? You ever heard of making hay when the sun shines? You got a choice. Get in the game or visit IMIGlobal.com. There is an increasing concern in our country about healthy eating. Everybody seems to have their own idea of what healthy eating is. There are extremists who live on donuts, fast food, and coffee and live to be 100 years old. And even more who keep drawers and shelves full of alternative medicines of pills and potions, and they don't seem to be much healthier than the rest of us. The biggest factor is your genetics. Your folks were tall and skinny. No matter what they ate, you might be the same. If your mom had brown eyes and a taste for biscuits and lived to be 92, you might have her genes. There's a basic rule. Cows are vegetarians. Mountain lions are carnivores. We are somewhere in the middle. But there is no single one thing that guarantees a long and healthy life. However, I have discovered my own alternative therapy. I've been searching for a reason as to why we live so long. Our life expectancy is hard to beat. Some say it's easy living or medical research, but I think it's the preservatives that I eat. Preservatives are everywhere. You might just be surprised in peanut butter and good old Wonder Bread, in smoked salmon and toothpaste and even some candy bars, and in margarine, the hard stick of the spread, in Diet Pop or soy sauce and hot fudge sundae all the way. The good old Karo syrup that you bought, in hot dogs and bologna and Betty's chocolate cake mix, and bouillon cubes, the choice of every astronaut. Oh, I eat roast beef and veggies, but I never overdo. Man cannot live by benzoates alone. Yet I crave the magic tingle that I get from my parquet, or a Twinkie as it soaks into my bones. My body now depends on the preservatives I eat. I'm sure they retard spoilage of my brains. I'll look forever youthful even through my twilight years because of their protection in my veins. Someday I'll just be sitting in my rocker on the porch, and everyone will say, I'm looking great, because I'll be so well preserved, no one will know I'm dead until they read my expiration date. This is Baxter Black. From out there.
Baxter, thanks as always for your humor and insight. Don't go away. We'll be back with more from San Antonio right after this. Stay with us.
Don't miss the 2015 NCBA Legislative Conference in Washington, D.C. It's your opportunity to meet with key congressional and federal agency influencers and to let them know where cattlemen and women stand on critical issues that impact the cattle business and our way of life. Make plans to be in Washington, D.C. March 24th to the 26th for the 2015 NCBA Legislative Conference. Together, we can do more. Details at beefusa.org. Have you seen this one? It's the Big Bud 747. And now you can hear the story of this amazing machine from its owners in Montana and from the man who built this awesome tractor all those years ago. Order your very own copy of the DVD, Awesome, the story of the biggest tractor ever built. It's chock full of facts about this powerful tractor that featured a 16-cylinder diesel engine that generated 900 horsepower and could work an acre a minute. Order the DVD Awesome by calling 1-800-888-8979. Or you can shop online anytime at the website classictractors.com.
Welcome back. Time now for this week's Legacy Photos as we take a look at some farms and ranches from across the country. Send us your own legacy photos by visiting our website, cattlementocattlemen.org. Be sure to include your ranch name, state, and hometown, and we may use them on a future episode. Next week on NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we'll have a special edition from San Antonio focusing on the Beef Quality Assurance Program. Stockmanship and stewardship clinician Kurt Pate will join us with some tips on low-stress cattle handling, and we'll take a closer look at some of this year's BQA award winners, plus another visit from the always entertaining Baxter Black that you don't want to miss. Well, that wraps up this edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. Thanks so much for spending time with us. We'll see you again next week right here on RFD TV.